My name is Vijay Prasad. I was born and raised in Fort McMurray, Alberta. The story that we're talking about is actually my backstory with what I went through with my cancer. I was diagnosed with cancer in 2001. I was diagnosed with adenocarcinoma cancer. I had it in my stomach. When it was diagnosed, I was actually diagnosed quite heavily as a stage 4 cancer patient, which was later on unfortunately upgraded to terminal. No, I am not dead, and this is not from beyond the grave. I'm actually alive and well, luckily. Thankfully, things did not go the way that was happening. Uh, what had happened was I had started having some weird symptoms 2001. I believe it was August, September, somewhere around there in the fall. Um, it was very quickly building up and causing me a lot of issues. I was losing weight. I was getting very tired very fast. Just kind of normal symptoms, which you could have shrugged off as just being sick, except they were progressing worse and worse until I almost pretty much collapsed. What had happened was I was bleeding internally because the cancer was eating through my stomach lining and causing me to bleed out. I got into the hospital and they said that pretty much majority of the entire amount of blood in my body had been drained. So that's why I was feeling like I was going to pass out. And I actually had walked into the hospital because I kind of shook myself off, walked in, sat down, took my breath, whatever, and then moved around. But they actually said they don't know how I was walking around because I should have been in a wheelchair apparently because I lost almost all of it. But the weird thing was I was feeling like, oh, if I took a nap, I was going to just wake up and feel better. And the doctor had said because of the amount of bleeding that was happening, had I taken a nap that night, I would have actually just not woken up. So things were quite dire, and I didn't even realize it. So going through everything, how it progressed, kind of fast forwarding, going through my treatments and all of that, it was quite aggressive. So I did go through the chemo, the radiation. Prior to me being sick with my cancer, I was actually about 250 pounds, about 14% body fat. I was actually quite in very great shape. I'm a personal trainer by trade, and I've been doing this for a long time, and so I was in really healthy condition going in. So at 250 pounds, quite big, quite strong, the cancer took quite the toll on me. I was in the hospital for 3 months, had to live there for a bit, but after the 3 months, when I left the hospital, I was 121 pounds. So I literally lost over half of my body weight and looked like the Walking Dead. So I basically looked like a skeleton. Uh, Obviously, just as weak as a skeleton would be as well. So I was kind of broken. Um, they gave me that terminal diagnosis and they said, we're going to send you home because there's not much more we can do. And that's kind of where I went through a bit of a depressive stage. Obviously not very happy with the way things happened, and my nurse was coming in, packing my wound because I was kind of split open, and that's where they had to remove my stomach because they tried to do that as well. So I have no stomach either. They actually removed all of it. So the nurse would coming in, treat the wound to make sure it was clean and kind of make me comfortable at home. Then one day I kind of had an epiphany moment because I was laying on a couch, kind of living off that couch, not really moving. My parents were taking care of me, feeding me on that couch. I didn't move, and every now and then I have to get up to kind of clean myself off. And I just realized I didn't want to go that way. Uh, so I literally, the nurse would come, pack my wound. I took an old weight belt that I had. I'd strap it on and cinch it up tight so that way the wound wouldn't open. And I would try to work out. Because in my head, what I was thinking was, I'm not going out this way, so I'm either going to die trying or I'm going to get better. But there was no option. So I put myself through some pretty nervous moments because I was pushing my limits a little bit more than I probably should have, but I don't regret it. A lot of painful mistakes along the way, but ultimately I started gaining weight again, which was not supposed to happen. Then I started feeling stronger, which was not supposed to happen. I started getting better, which was not supposed to happen because, of course, I was on that terminal diagnosis. And the more I got better and felt stronger, the more I wanted to keep pushing those limits. And it just kind of forced a light to go off in my head because I'm like, okay, wait, they told me I wasn't going to make it. If I would have listened to them, I would have actually died from this terminal diagnosis. But luckily, for whatever reason, that epiphany moment happened that said, let's just fight back just a little bit, see what happens, and make it happen if it has to. But then, otherwise, if I go out, at least I'm going to go out on my own terms, fighting to try to get better. And all of a sudden I started getting better and better and better, and then I started taking my life back because I realized it wasn't over. And then I started all of a sudden, I was like, they said I'm a mixed martial artist as well. I started mixed martial artist as well, and They told me I would never fight again, obviously, from all that. Well, then, as soon as I felt stronger again, my wound had healed, and I was working out and training, feeling better, I went back to that too, and I started fighting again. I even got back some of my provincial titles from there too, and things like that. Things went well, and more of a light was clicking in because it's like, wait, the more I push, the more I can fight back, the better I can do. And it made me really reassess a lot of how I chose to do things with my life, because had I not taken the shot, I wouldn't be here now. And I really want to make that something that I want to bring out to people in my life, or people who I don't even know. But it made me realize, if I can actually make a difference for myself that way, if I knew that I fighting back was going to make a difference, unfortunately not everybody's going to survive. I get that, but I mean, at least if you take that shot, you have that chance. I took the shot, I made it. I was one of the lucky ones. Getting the chance to help somebody or show somebody else that if they take that shot, it could happen. If I can even help one person, my life has now have way more of a meaning than I ever could have imagined from when I didn't have a cancer before. In a weird, odd way, one might almost be willing to say I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't put myself in a position to not have it, because it made me stronger because of it. It made me better because of it. It made me a better person inside, made me a better person outside, made me want to help more people, because I realized that I have a story that actually can show people that it's not over just because somebody else says so. So I really used what happened to me to want to make other people realize that nothing stops them but themselves. So my story is going to ultimately end with, I have to at least help one person in this life know that as long as they don't give up, there's always a chance. So I chose to shoot with Bombelkie. I looked at the work that they did, and it spoke to me, I think, is the best way to put it. So many images you see, you can superimpose somebody else's image, and it might match up identically. What I see with Bombelkie's work is everything is unique. Everything, it's not just, you don't just see an image, but each image tells a story. Each image brings something more out. There's an essence to it. It's not just a picture. It's a tale. And even one snapshot, you can tell so much of a tale, an epic, a history from one image, which you can see so many pictures out there that do nothing like that. Whereas with what I see here, Bombelkie brings life to a still image. And it brings drama, it brings attitude, it brings inspiration. Especially some of those pictures where you look at them, you see some people in those more Spartan type pictures. It makes you think, I want to be that person. You see a hero, you see a warrior, you see a struggle, you see a fight, and it comes out in the essence of this image. But the thing is, it's not that every person can do it, because each image is different, because they somehow seem to capture that person, and they are the hero of that story. They are the warrior of that story. And it makes me want to do it. It makes me want to be that, because you can almost look at that image. If you see one, I would bet any person who's worked with them thus far will look at that image and not believe that that's themselves on that page or on that screen. They won't believe that they are that hero in their own story. And Bombelkie somehow brings that into life, which is it's just amazing.